just need to navigate up there. I use the left one in this case. And you'll see a little hole on the roof. I don't know why I'm still deliberating with the actual frame when I don't need to. But yeah, you'll see sort of those holes on the roof up there. I think that's what I use this camera angle for. So then from there, we literally just... Well, if I stop messing up so much. Goodness. Yeah, no, with the frame in the way, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, we just move. Jump out from there. And that's it. This is all of Crashmo. 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 Okay, I need to come clean. So, despite me making that entire LP, having all this talk about being a comprehensive guide of the game, I failed all of you. Not only have I failed the viewers, but I failed the integrity of this dead channel. So what am I talking about? Well, initially, I had said that there were 240 levels in the base game of Crashmo. That's without any of the QR code stuff from Nintendo or any of that stuff. But it turns out, with some new information that's come to light, I've missed 28 puzzles that, before some new information that I'll get into later in this video, I didn't even know existed. So, how did this happen? How could I be so ignorant? Well, let's start back at the... Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation. Well, let's start at... So, for any of you dedicated viewers out there, if you remember, I did an intro for Let's Play Crashmo, where I included some information I unearthed from a Crashmo iceberg made by a mystery person. I gave the most credit I could to that person at the time. But, as it turns out, this individual had made themselves known during the middle of my LP. The person's name was Sush. At the time, they left an incredibly insightful comment. Now, I know some of you out there might be a little bit skeptical. At the time I was too. I mean, the only reason I ever even considered this poster to be the Crashmo iceberg person was because someone commented underneath claiming that exact thing. And for a little bit of a moment there, I thought, wow, we found the Crashmo iceberg person! And I was just absolutely losing it. But once I came to my own senses, I just decided to let the comment be and continue my Let's Play. So let's move forward in the timeline a bit. In my intended final video for Let's Play Crashmo, that being the bonus 2 video, Sush left another comment saying themselves that they were in fact the Crashmo iceberg person and that they were working on a new Crashmo iceberg. At this point, I felt a bit more inclined to believe them. So I decided to leave a reply giving thanks for the original iceberg post, as well as giving them credit for that iceberg post in the description of all the Let's Play Crashmo videos. Then a few days later, they posted a new iceberg video with a new description, and at this point, I was pretty sure that this guy was the Crashmo iceberg person. Now, I know some of you may call me incredibly gullible, but I can't really see a scenario where someone's going to claim false credit for something so innocuous. And if it turns out they lied, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. Oh no, you lied about being the Crashmo iceberg person? I guess the only suitable punishment for you is death by blocks. Regardless, Sush's new iceberg included some new info I wasn't aware of, and it also had some clarifications on some of the previous things that they had posted about, which I had included in my original intro video. So, for the rest of the video, I'm going to take the time to go over some interesting tidbits from this new iceberg, as well as correct any of the mistakes from my previous video. One of the bigger mistakes that I had mentioned in that intro video was the existence of a potential Pushmo movie that was in the works at some point. Well, as it turns out, this is most likely fake, The information for this came from edited Wikipedia filmography for Tara Strong. If you don't know who Tara Strong is, she's basically a voice actress. She's done a ton of roles in different animated projects. If you were a kid, you've probably heard her voice at some point in time. Getting back to the Wikipedia article, so here's the thing about Wikipedia. Pretty much anyone can edit the pages as they please, and it's likely that this filmography was edited by some kind of Pushmo fan at the time that really wanted Tara Strong to voice someone from the games. So it's possible also that, you know, what I'm saying right now and what the general consensus is incorrect. But if there ever was a Pushmo movie in the works, we'd probably need confirmation from intelligence systems if we were to get any sort of new information about that. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to go over before getting into the new info from the iceberg. By the time that this video is uploaded, you shouldn't be able to add funds to your 3DS and Wii U anymore to access games on the eShop. But that doesn't mean you can't actually buy things on the eShop. In fact, you can still add funds to your account. It's just kind of dumb and roundabout. So the first thing you're going to need is a Nintendo Switch. And if you have a Switch, you can add funds to your account through your Switch. That money should hold over throughout all three accounts, Wii U, 3DS, and Switch. Those should all be the same account. So, if you add money through your Switch, you should be able to buy stuff on the 3DS and Wii U eShop. Now, purchasing things through those shops will cease by the end of August. I'll have the exact date up on screen right now. So, I just wanted to sort of clear that up before we move on to the new stuff. Now, on to the iceberg. First thing I want to focus on is Crashmo World. Now in the iceberg, Sush expresses skepticism with this game even being in development at Intelligent Systems. And while there weren't a lot of articles talking about this game at the time, it seems very likely that this game did exist. I mostly want to turn attention towards a video that's done by Liam Robertson. Liam Robertson is basically a game journalist that focuses on the development history of usually games that were never released or had very rocky development cycles. And he tends to have a pretty good track record of doing really good investigative work on this. I believe he's even done stuff with Digino Gaming in the past. So I'll have a link to that video down in the description. Now, before I move on to those missing levels, I want to actually give a lot of praise to Sush for this new iceberg. A lot of the topics he presents here are very informative while also being really funny. When I was reading it the first time around, I actually audibly laughed a couple times because of the way he presented the information. So, while I am giving some of the general overview of this iceberg here, I highly recommend that you go out of your way to read it. I'll have a link to the actual images down below in the description, and I believe I also pinned the original comment on that bonus 2 video in case you want to click on that link instead for some reason. So, yeah, props to you, Sush, and yeah, go ahead and actually read it yourself. Okay, so let's move on to those missing levels. So for the rest of the video, we're going to be focusing on the studio portion of Crashmo. And here's a quick rundown of how that usually works. So every single Pushmo game has a studio feature where people can make their own levels and share them through QR codes. Nintendo and a few other companies have released their own Crashmo levels to help promote the game, which I did mention in the original video. Now, initially when I started my Let's Play, I considered doing these QR code levels, but I didn't mention it at the time because my initial searches had me scouring a bunch of Twitter and a bunch of other social media sites to try to find these QR codes. Conveniently, I actually did end up finding a website that had all the Nintendo endorsed puzzles. The thing about it though is that this website didn't really make a differentiation between these puzzles and also some user submitted puzzles that were included among this very long list. While I am not going to be doing these for any sort of continuation to this Let's Play, I did in fact archive all these QR codes personally on my computer, as well as make a digital archive on the Internet Archive. So if this website ever goes down, we at least still have access to these QR codes, thankfully. So, as I had already mentioned, I could play through these additional 100 plus levels, But I'm going to draw the line in stuff that's in the base game, so I'm not going to cover them. I'm sorry, I need to draw the line somewhere. At some point in time, I might stream some of them and try to do it, but as I'm standing right now, I don't really want to do more Crashmo puzzles if I can help it. Now, some of the more astute listeners may have noticed how I mentioned I'm only going to be doing the levels that are in the base game of Crashmo. Well, as it turns out, I actually missed some levels in the base game of Crashmo. But where could they be? Well, those lie in the Crashmo studio. So here's how you get these 28 puzzles, which I have not covered. Okay, so once you're in the Crashmo studio, you're going to go to one of the empty slots and act as if you're about to make a new level. If it's your first time actually trying to make a new level, Papa Blocks will give you a nice tutorial explaining how to use all the different tools available to you to make those puzzles. Once he finishes yapping, you'll notice that you have a copy feature that's available to you. When you're in that copy feature, you should have an option to actually ask Papa Blocks for help. From there, Papa Blocks will actually give you a pre-made puzzle which you can work off of or just use as its own puzzle and put that into your Crashmo studio. From there, you can play it. Now, there are a couple quirks to asking Papa Blocks for help. If you want to have access to all 28 of his unique puzzles, you'll have to go through all 140 levels of the main campaign. Otherwise, after a point, he'll start to just duplicate the puzzles he's already given you. Another unique aspect to these Crashmo is that Papa Blocks will actually give a difficulty rating to them. The reason I'm mentioning this is because in the original Pushmo, you could also get unique puzzles through the Creator Studio mode. However, they didn't actually have a unique difficulty setting set to them. So when I first unlocked the Studio mode in Crashmo, and in all the other Pushmo games for that matter, I didn't think much of it. You know, it was just a level creator that you could share with your friends. Okay, cool. I never would have thought that there would have been unique levels for you to try out in this mode, let alone that you couldn't unlock all these levels until you beat the main game. So, thank you, Sush. I have to go back to all the Pushmo games now and try to beat levels that I didn't even know existed. On top of that, I do want to let everyone know that don't expect a video tomorrow on these new levels. I'm currently kind of taking a break from Crashmo and I'm kind of playing some other stuff right now. I do plan to come back to these and I do plan to actually cover them, but that's probably going to be maybe sometime later this year or maybe even next year. So be patient on that. Don't expect it tomorrow. Oh right, one final thing I want to mention is how each time you get a puzzle from Papa Blocks, he has a little comment about the puzzle. He reminisces on old friends, thinks about his dog, and mentions his wife. Wait, Papa Blocks never mentioned having a wife before.
I've been home here.
That's so weird because I've never seen him with his...
My wife likes me.
Listen, I need to get going. Blocks, what are you doing here? You said you were going home. What are you doing here?
I don't have a home. She's been dead for 8 years.